Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, want to give you guys some reminders before we get moving into today's video. If you're new here, thank you so much for deciding to join the series. I don't know if somebody told you about the series, or however, maybe you found it, through YouTube search, but either way, I'm glad to have you here. If you are new, I'd certainly welcome you to go back to the first video in the series, which is day 1. So I've made it easy to follow in that way, where we just, label the days. So go back to day 1 just to go ahead and see what the introductions are and what we're going to be covering and how the flow of it's going to go. And if you have been somebody that's been following along, with the series through the entirety of the series, we certainly appreciate you doing that. Now, just to keep in mind, we've got a lot of people that are not subscribed, to the channel that are still, following, what's going on here in the series. So I'd certainly welcome you, to subscribe. It always helps because if there are reminders, things I broadcast to the community, you're going to get notified, of that, and you'll see that alert come up, in your feed, that I posted something. So that helps you kind of stay more connected, to what's going on, with the channel. So that is certainly one of the big benefits, of being subscribed, to the channel. So again, I would just welcome you to be subscribed to the channel, if you'd be so kind to do so. Now, with that being said, what we're going to do, especially if you're new, we're going to go ahead and do some review like we always do. And you can see I've got a bunch of tabs, open here. This is always connected to the alerts that we set, as far as what we're trying to keep up with. And then we'll take a look, at those, at what's going on there. Take a look at some alerts, and then we'll take a look, at the filters, and then we'll see if we can discover something new today. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into the tabs here. We got Froski. We went ahead and took a look at this one, some days ago. I think the posted market cap was at 175K. And we can see that our market cap is at 398 in this screenshot, so this was the first one that I took. And then here on the second one that I took, you can see it actually went up even further, here over 441K. Now, obviously, it has retraced. We can see the market cap here at 348. All right. So, but the point in highlighting this is that we did find it, at 175. You can see that here in our alerts. Okay. So the note that we set was, for the posted market cap was at 175K. So obviously we did find this one, early. And like I said, I think yesterday, I wasn't too sure about where this chart was headed. So it was either going to go up or it was going to go down. I speculated that it could go down just because of how weekends tend to operate. A lot of tokens tend to do retracement or, tend to retrace, over the weekends. But there are outliers. There are tokens that do go up, and there are tokens that go down. So you tend to find more tokens going down than going up, certainly on the weekends. So, but with that being said, obviously the whole point of the series is to go ahead and find stuff that's early, earlier on in the market cap, and then, hopefully those, as we continue to watch and set alerts, that might be an opportunity, where you can take an entry early, should you decide to do so, and then it may move, to the upside, where we can see some gains. And obviously this is one of those tokens, where that did take place. Okay, so we're going to close out Froski, and we are still keeping our alerts on this one. Actually, it's just one alert, but we're at 337, so it could still retrace since we are kind of in retracement mode right now. So I'll still keep an under on this one, but we're going to adjust this one. So we're going to say this is at 337, actually 338, because remember, there's a little bit of a delay, here. So this is at 338. So just for the sake of accuracy, but either way, I mean, you can go 337. It doesn't really matter since they're both pretty close, in this example. But we're going to go 338. Let's say we'll set this to 290. Okay, 290. And keep in mind, as always, this is a fluid process, so you make adjustments. My deviation from the posted market cap may look a little different than yours. You can certainly always decide to copy, whatever alerts I set. That's certainly, up to you, your prerogative. But with some of these, my deviation from the posted market cap is going to be more. For some, it's going to be less. It just depends on what I'm seeing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close that one out. And then looking at Hoodrat here, this is one where we looked at this back on, I think it was December 12th, which would have made that day 4's video. Okay, so we spotted this one at 109. I did make a note of that. We spotted this one at 109K. And then we watched it, for a little bit, and then I decided to stop the alerts, on that one. So we can see here that again, we spotted this one right here, super early, right? And then I think I stopped alerts, somewhere between the 12th and the 15th. It may have been around the 15th that I stopped the alerts, okay, because I wasn't sure if this one was going to continue to move, right? So, but obviously, if anybody was still continuing to keep up with this one, you can see here on this, okay, there was retracement. We still had some buy pressure going on because you can see that here, in this spike here. But then obviously you had the sell retracement, more buy pressure. So we still had buy pressure going on, even at these lower levels. And then what happened? It started to pick up some momentum, and to the tune of over 850K. So we found this, again, keep in mind, we found this at 109K, all right, back on the 12th. And had you stuck with this one, and again, I've talked about conviction, they're just tokens, where if you're in it and you see something that you like, or you just feel good about the token, it's all an individual thing. There's no real cookie cutter method to this. You got to watch, you got to do your own evaluation. And I take you through taking a look at the charts, taking a look at the community, talking you through kind of stuff that I see and, what I think about, in terms of when I'm taking a look at different tokens. And so this one, obviously, it essentially did about an 8x, at the peak. So what's the whole point of the series? We want to try to see if we can find some early opportunities, that may give us, the possibility of potential for gains. So, and that's obviously assuming that you choose to, take an entry into a token. We talked about taking an entry, we talked about, DCAing, if that's going to be one of your strategies that you want to use. But again, I wasn't so sure, just because one, I'm taking a look at a lot of different tokens, on a daily basis. Two, I saw more retracement than I was comfortable with, and so I decided to go ahead and leave it. And like I said, there may have been some of you that decided to go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one. Maybe you're a fan of Matt Fury and a lot of the tokens, that are associated with him. And so obviously this one, you just had to wait, for a little bit. And obviously patience, is a tough thing to come by, in this space, but there are people that do. And so you wait, and then obviously here's where waiting would have paid off, so that's not always going to happen, but in this one it did. So I felt like this was one that I needed to highlight, just because it's one that we had on our radar. We found initially, we watched for a few days, and then I took it off, off my radar in terms of the alerts. And I left it up to you guys to do whatever you wanted to do. And then obviously for anybody that decided to stick with it, it did, obviously move at some point. So, all right, so that's part of the review today that I wanted to go over. And then this one's one we've been talking about on and off, Purple Doge. Obviously we found this one, early, as well. I think at this point the alerts would look different, but I've said before that we found it, and I think this one was, I know it was posted, to my X community at 70K. It retraced pretty heavy down to 25K, and then it jumped up. I did a video on that one, and then it went back down, right? So it was sitting around the 70K, area yesterday, and then obviously, according to this screenshot, it started to move back up. So now at the time of this screenshot, it was at 117K. Right now, I think it's done some retracement, so since then, so obviously we're right here. Again, this is one that I still consider to be a bit risky, just because we've got that little spike, on the chart here, and then obviously there is retracement, right? So we're sitting here looking at this on the 5-minute, we're looking at minus 2% roughly. On the 1 hour, we're looking at minus 30%, right? So could this continue to move? It depends. As long as you're still seeing some buy pressure, there's a possibility. But again, it still comes down to looking at what's going on in the buy transaction area. Still comes down to looking at what's going on in the community. Is there anything being done in terms of, a plan to like move the token, or not? We have no idea. And I'm not going back to the community at this point, not in this video, but again, if you're somebody that's still keeping up with this one, I would certainly welcome you to continue to evaluate what's going on in the community, to make it, try to make some kind of, determination as to what you want to do in this one. Again, could be a situation where you decide to go ahead and put something in. If it was me, maybe a few bucks, $3 to $5. And then if it continues to retrace, it's not really a big issue, in terms of loss there, as opposed to throwing in $100 and then let's say this thing retraces by 50% and you're already in a $50 loss, which is not what you want. So that's what I'm saying. If I were to go ahead and, look at something like this, it could be maybe a $5 entry. And then if it continues to go up, maybe I would go ahead and DCA on the way up, adding in more on the way up, especially if it shows more of an uptrend. But if this continues to go down, and like I said, for me, and I've talked about this yesterday a lot, in terms of weekend trading behavior, I'm more inclined to think this is going to retrace. And so, like I said, if I were to make any kind of buy, if it was me, I'd go ahead and make a small buy, let it retrace, and then make a determination, thinking that maybe, depending on what I'm seeing, if it goes back up, then I would go ahead and obviously DCA at lower levels, because obviously at lower levels, whatever amount you're putting in, you're getting more tokens for that amount. Higher levels, whatever you're putting in, you're getting less tokens for that amount. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so for this one on the alerts, let's see what we got going on. So we've got this alert that was disabled. So that obviously means this was triggered when it went over 75, right? So we're going to set a different alert, and this is going to be an under. And so I'm going to set this one for, where are we at? We're at 80K. Let's set it for 60K, because I don't know if it retraces, if it's going to retrace heavy, just because again we're still seeing buy pressure at these lower levels. So, and then the posted market cap is going to be 80K. So we're going to set that alert. Excuse me. And then for the over alert, because we still want to keep an eye on that, we're going to move this one from 48 to 80 to update the posted market cap, and we're going to go to 95. Okay, so that's where I'm going to set that one. Okay, so those alerts are set there. So that's going to actually take us through the review portion of this. So again, not a ton of review today, and yesterday we had more, more review than we typically do. And like I've said before, some days we're going to have more review, some days we're going to have less review. It just depends on the day. Now this one, and this is just stuff I've been, was looking at earlier. So we're going to go ahead and reset this, okay? Just so we can start fresh, for the sake of the video. And as far as the filters are concerned, because again, even when I'm not doing videos, I'm still utilizing Dexscreener. So just keep that in mind. Platforms we're going to look at today, we'll take a look at both, Solana and Ethereum. For the market cap, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go 50,000, and we're going to do, I don't know, let's go to 200. So, and sorry guys, if my voice sounds a little bit off. I haven't been up very long, so I feel like I'm still trying to get myself going for the morning, but I wanted to get this video out. So sorry I don't sound as energetic as usual, if you guys noticed. But with that being said, let's keep going. Pair age. Let's take a look. We don't do this a whole lot, I think there's maybe only been a couple of videos. We started out with super fresh tokens, but we are going to start out with super fresh tokens today. Let's go 1 hour to 10 hours, okay? And keep in mind as a caveat that because we're going super fresh, which means like brand new, hot off the presses, kind of tokens, there is a likeliness we're going to run into more scams. So just keep that in mind. Anytime you're looking at much more fresh tokens, you're going to run into more scams. When you start to look at stuff like, the 18-hour, 24-hour, as far as your minimum value here, you're going to mitigate that. There's going to be lesser, scams. You start to move out into your 48-hour and longer as far as a minimum value in this 24-hour change, you will find less and less scams. At least that's been my experience. So don't take that as a hardline rule, but it just seems to be the pattern, that I tend to find in my own research, that you find less and less scams, and obviously that still requires you to go and do your own evaluative assessment, of course, okay? Because again, it's not a guarantee. You're still running into scams. It's just going to be less and less of them, as opposed to looking at, and I didn't mean this value, but in the pair age value, in terms of what you're putting here, in terms of, how new the token is. So sorry about that. I was focusing on the 24-hour change, and I should have been, up here. So not to confuse you, you want to have a lower, the lower your value is here, the more scams you're going to run into. The higher your value is here, you help yourself by running into less scams, okay? So we're going to go and apply that. And what do we get? We get 19 tokens. As always, when you see a lot of these where there should be an image and it's just a question mark, these are likely to be scams. So I've been going over this the last few days, and I haven't been wrong, I don't think, so keep that in mind. So we got another Froski, it's shown up here, and we can go ahead and open it up just to go ahead and see what's going on with this one. But you can see there are no socials, okay? And looking at this has been up for 8 hours. And typically, you know, when you see a chart like this, we're going to go to the 5 minute, or actually the 1 minute, probably going to be better. We can see this is not typical, you know, on a token that's been live for 8 hours, where it's just kind of sitting like this. And then when you look at the buy transactions, we've got massive buys. Okay, we got some exceptions, you know, with that $20 buy, but this is not normal. This is not normal for any token to see this kind of stuff going on. So if you see these massive buys coming in, you know, in a buy trend, you know, on your buy transaction history, especially on a newer token, not normal, probably a scam. So stay away from those. So, but like I said, you see these, you know, with these question marks here, more than likely these are scams. So we don't touch these, you know, but I do highlight them just for illustrative purposes to let you know that's something you want to stay away from. Okay, so with that being said, we've got 7 other tokens we are going to take a look at, actually 8. So we're going to open all 8 of those. Okay, there we go, there we go. Oops, that last one. Was that the one? Okay, that was that first key. So we're going to go back here. Okay, and because that changed, because obviously, oh, okay, we got 7. Okay, so remember, Dexscreener, it auto updates on its own. Okay, so that was what led to that quick, you know, opening up of a tab that I didn't want to open. So here we go. We're just going to take a quick look at the charts just to make some adjustments here. Let's go to the 5 minute on this one. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, and we're also scanning just to make sure we've got, you know, socials here. It's particularly Telegram. Okay, and okay, this one's okay. This one, it looks okay. We're going to go to 5 minutes on this one just to see the chart a bit better. And here, we only get a website, you know, so we're not going to mess with this one. And then this one, we only get a website and Twitter. We don't see Telegram, so we're not messing with this one. Okay, so we got 5 that we can work with. So here we go. So as far as the chart's concerned on this one, we get a strong launch candle, and then we get some buy pressure, some sell pressure associated, you know, or following that, which is, you know, normal. And then we get heavy retracement. Now at this point, you might think the token's dead. You know, if I was probably looking at this, you know, at the time of the launch, you know, I probably would have been like, you know, maybe it's done for. But obviously some sell pressure or buy pressure returns to the chart. And then again, we get that heavy sell pressure again. And then from there, you know, we get the peaks and valleys again, and then it kind of just retraces to these bottom levels. And then we're still staying here. Now there is still some buy pressure, but we're still seeing, in my opinion, more sell pressure than buy pressure. Okay, now looking at this area, we see on the 5 minute we're in minus, and in the 1 hour still in the minus. Now this right here, this big number on the 6 hour and 24 hour, this is more about this right here than anything else accompanying the rest of it. Okay, so I personally think this is probably going to be done. So I don't know, we're going to be taking a look at that Telegram. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this one. This one here as well, you know, not as strong of a launch candle, you know, but we still continue to go ahead and make our way up. Heavy sell pressure. Okay, and then even though we still kind of, you know, we head back to, you know, this area of these previous all-time highs, but once we get close to that area, then we just, you know, sell it off. So this one, you can see the big numbers here on the 5 minute, the 1 hour, and the 6 hour, you know, big numbers in the red, you know, so not really interested in this one. We're going to close this one out. And well, let's see here. So this one stayed in the lower levels and then it started to take off. And so we can see that we got heavy sell pressure, you know, in this area. I don't think this was coming back, especially when you're looking at the 1 hour in the almost minus 60% range. I think this one's toast. So we're going to go ahead and leave that one alone. All right. But again, if you guys want to follow some of these, you know how you do, you know, you can always go ahead and just copy the name, go into your search box right here. Copy it, just make sure you line up, you know, the market caps, you know, what you're seeing on the video, and then that'll be the one, you know, and then you can go ahead and set your own alert if you wanna, you know, highlight that and follow along, you know, beyond whatever I'm doing here in the video. Like I said, I'm just taking a look at some of these newer ones, and you can tell, you know, with some of these right away, it's like, you know, hey, they're done. There's no reason to go ahead and investigate them further. This one, again, you can see right here, minus 76%, you know, on the 1 hour. Even though you're plus 20%, you know, on the 5 minute, it's going to be a pretty difficult climb to get back up into these areas, you know. So, and I've mentioned before that if you already see a couple of runs on the chart, it's hard to keep repeating that process. Now we're almost at negative 80%, right? So we see a run here, we see a run here. see maybe the start of a potential run right here. But again, immediately hit with a bunch of sell pressure, and it's just continue to go ahead and go further down, lower lows, lower low, lower low, right? So for this one's toast as well. And here, again, we're just going to highlight the fact that you had a run up on the launch. You had a pretty good run here. This one it started to, but just hit with major sell pressure, okay? And we're seeing minus on the 12, on the 5 minute, and minus on the 15, or on the 1 hour. So this one I believe is done. This one just continues to go down. So like I said, I'm coming back this one because I wasn't sure if I wanted to take a look at the Telegram. This one's done as well. So we're going to leave that one alone. So let's go ahead and I think we're going to revisit the filters. Keep in mind, I've said this before in another video, that just because, you know, we go and we set some filters, excuse me, and we don't really come up with anything, then what do? You go ahead and you reset your filters. You put in some different filters. So we already tried this, you know, with the 1 hour to 10 hours. So we're really not seeing anything. And this is both for Solana and ETH. All right, so we're going to go to 11 hours, and then we're going to go out to 20 hours. And let's see. And keep in mind, when we do this, what are we getting? We're getting a different set of tokens at this point. Okay, so now we've got 9 tokens, only one that's a scam. We can go ahead and open that up just to confirm it. So no socials, and this is what the chart looks like, you know. But again, my issue with this right away, and it's my own personal preference, if I don't see socials, I'm not messing with it. So, okay, because if you're going to take time to go ahead and put a Dexscreener, you know, if you're going to take time to create a token, you want to make sure that what people are seeing is, you know, is going to allow them to still be able to access your token. So, and if you're, you know, as we go through the series, you know, we're taking a look, you know, what they're putting in that informational arena, you know, a website, you know, an X account, a Telegram account, or a Discord. If you're not putting anything there, that's an indicator that if you can't put the time in just to, you know, make sure that people have a way to access your token, that's probably not a good sign, you know, for the overall longevity of that token. So yeah, so moving forward, the only thing I didn't do right away was I should have gone ahead and tick that 24 as we always do, just to see the highest, you know, amount of gain in the 24-hour window. So we're going to open these up and see what we got going on. Okay, and this one, another one, scam. Okay, yeah, okay, so all of these are open. We're going to let those load up. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the charts. All right, and we're going to this is on 15. Oh, we'll see if that's good enough for that. And we can also see socials. Can't speak this morning. So with this one, that one, you know, heavy retracement, you know, since the launch candle. So we're not going to go ahead and take a look at that. And the more that we do this, you know, you should be able to get a sense right away whether it's something you want to go ahead and investigate further or not. So this is one video where I'm highlighting that we can see right away whether we want to take a closer look at something, you know, or not. You know, and this is going to be one of those video exceptions. You know, there'll be other videos where we spend a little bit more time explaining it, especially because you never know in which part of the series where we may be seeing, you know, more and more new people, you know. So, but with that being said, for this one in particular, we're going to keep an eye on this one. This one, you know, too much retracement for me to really, you know, care about this one, and we don't get a Telegram on this one, so that would have, you know, knocked this one out of consideration for me anyway. This one, we'll keep an eye on that one. This one is a CTO, obviously, so we can see that there's still buy pressure, you know, in these lower levels, you know, which is what we want to see, because it could be, we can set alerts for indicators, you know, maybe this one heading back up, we just don't know. But we also want to take a look at what's going on in the Telegram channel, you know, just to add some additional context into our evaluation for that one. This one, okay, we got our socials. This one looks like, you know, again, we got some buy pressure, you know, even at the lower levels. Okay, and then this one here, I can tell you already, not interested because there's just too much sell pressure going on at the lower levels. So we're going to close this one out. Okay, so we're going to go back here. And we're going to take a look, you know, at the channel on this one, even though we're in the minus in the 5 minute and the 1 hour. Still going to go ahead and take a look, you know, what's going on here, you know, in this particular token. So we get a portal. We're going to go in and get our link, and we're going to see what's going on in this one. So this is the $1 trillion coin. All right, so we can see they've got some trending going on. Last buy was at 9:45. That falls within my 10-minute window. If I don't see a buy within 10 minutes, and again, this is something, for you if you're new, then I don't consider this to be a token that I would go ahead and watch. Okay, but this one does meet that criteria, and it's one of the many criteria that I set for tokens that I look at, that there is a buy within 10 minutes. So in the pinned messages, and I always look at the pinned messages just to go ahead and see, is there anything they got going on here in terms of what they're communicating to the community as far as what they plan to go ahead and do in the token. So let's see here. They got a new banner. This is obviously them updating, their Dexscreener. Okay, and they're communicating that. Currently working on. So I like to see this kind of communication, as well. They've got a TikTok, looks like they're trying to get some exposure on TikTok. That's also positive for me. Okay, so yeah, for this one, I'd be interested in setting an alert, even though we're still looking at some retracement. So, and we can see that here on the 5-minute and the 1 hour. Okay, now the reason why I'm still interested in setting the alert is because of what I saw in the channel. Okay, so with that being said, doesn't mean that this is going to be something I'm going to watch beyond tomorrow, especially if it continues to retrace and go down. I'm not interested in setting an under alert on this one because it's continuing to retrace. I'm interested in setting an over alert on this one. So right now we're looking at this one at 62K. All right, and we're going to set this alert, for 80K. All right. So I think if it hits 80K, that could signal, and remember, the alerts are indicators. It could signal an uptrend for this particular token. All right, so like I said, not interested in setting an under alert on this one. And looking at this one, okay, so I like what's going on. We got some buy pressure even at these lower levels, even though I don't necessarily like the minus 35 here. But we're going to take a look at the channel and see what's going on there. So we get a portal, great. I like, the clever image in terms of what they've done there with the catfish. All right, so we're sitting at 228. The last buy was at 948. Got 948 on my computer clock. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in the pinned messages. All right, so you got a website, great. Okay, so they got the blue check, going on. So they're investing time, money into the token, which is always a positive. Okay, Dex has been updated. All right, great. So, and they've got a couple thousand holders, which is also another positive. A lot of people interested in this one. So yeah, I mean, were they trending? No, I don't see trending on this one. So I don't see raids, I don't see trending, but apparently they've still got some interest, in buys here. Now this one, obviously, this is already somebody that was already in it. He's just increasing his holding and position, in the token, and so we're still getting, buys, on this one, which is good news, right? However, I would like to see, more engagement as far as the community is concerned, rating. I'd like to see some trending going on as far as this one's concerned. But like I said, this could be maybe they're waiting for higher levels before they decide to go ahead and maybe do some boost or something, on this too. But it is encouraging to see that we're still getting some buy pressure on this one. So for this, I think I'd be more interested, not necessarily in an over alert, but an under alert on this one. So I know when we started the series, we said that, obviously for a lot of these, we would set over and unders, but there's going to be situations where it doesn't make sense to sit or to create two alerts. For some of them, like this one, it's going to make more sense to go ahead and just create, an under alert, obviously because it's going up right now. So this one's going to be at 248. As far as the posted market cap, and we're setting this one for, I don't know, let's set it for 200, because even though it's nice, everybody loves to see tokens go up, that can always be something where you're just a little bit fooled. It could be, hey, it's going up right now, but somebody's just waiting to go ahead and dump it. So if that's the case, because again, you saw the same thing here. It was going up, right? It was going up, and then what happened? Went back down. So it was going up here. What happened? Got hit with sell. So it's kind of like happy face and sad face. And a happy face because everybody loves it when people are buying the token. And then obviously you're going to see some sells, right? So again, don't be in a rush. If you're choosing to take an entry, watch. Again, I've mentioned before, patience is not something that's easy to come by in this space, but sometimes it just makes more sense to watch, just to see, because obviously I've mentioned before, especially at lower levels, you got a lot of people that could be in a loss. And what they're doing is they're loving buy pressure at this point. but they're loving it because they're waiting for a chance to go ahead and either mitigate their loss, because maybe they're down 80%. If they get some buy pressure, maybe that 80% becomes a 50% loss for them, at which point, what do? They go ahead and they sell, and that adds red candles to the chart. So again, when I see an uptrend, it's not like, it makes sense to go in with like massive buys, because at the end of the day, somebody that's already in the loss is waiting for something like that. So, and they got one of two choices. They can either wait to see if this continues to go up, or they can go ahead and, just sell right away, but again, they're not the only one that's doing that. There are other people that are probably in loss, and they're waiting to see more buy pressure to go ahead and mitigate the loss, and sell, which is always going to, add these red candles, on the charts or on the chart. So with that being said, we've already set the alert there. So we're going to move on to the next one. Here, we're going to take a look at what's going on in the Telegram, because this one, and we're still getting some retracement, on this one. So I'm going to review that section, of the channel, that we saw in their channel, just because of the graphics there. And then we'll see if I want to go ahead and keep that part of the video. But we're going to move on to the next token, which is going to be crippled. So for now, I'm not going to go ahead and leave anything. I'm not going to set any alerts on that one, just because we're seeing continued retracement here. For crippled CTO, this one, my only concern is that I'm looking at these lower levels, and I'm still seeing, I think, more sell pressure than buy pressure. So this is one I think we're going to leave alone as well. And then we're going to go over to this one. I do believe we're going to take a look, a closer look at this one. So we're going to take a look at their channel. Let's see what they got going on here. And like I said, guys, it's just earlier in the morning for me. So sorry I don't sound as energetic, but as I usually do. But either way, we're almost done with this one, because I think this is going to be the last token we're going to taking a look at. But the last buy was at 954. That was a minute ago. Okay, so that's good to see. Okay, so here we go. I don't really know what that is. All token holders automatically whitelisted for Mint. Okay, Mint is live. So obviously they've got some NFTs, associated with this one. Okay, so there's a warning here. All right, so yeah, Dex is paid, which is good. So we see at least they've got that going on, but I'd like to see some rating. I'd like to also see maybe some trending, or some boost, going on for this token in terms of trying to increase the overall exposure of it. But we're going to go ahead and head back out here. This is one I think we would want to keep an eye on. So we're sitting at 90K, and actually I'm not going to set an under alert. I'm actually setting an over alert for this one. So we're going to go straight to market cap over, and we're going to say if it can touch, 110, I think this might be one that might actually get some attention from me. So we're sitting at, this is at 91. So 91K. All right, so we're going to create the alert there. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with me. Especially on a day where I am struggling to get going. But either way, not every day can be like, where I'm just, energetic and ready to go. So, but either way, it's all about the content that matters, right? So got you guys another video, for today. Let's go and let's see what happens tomorrow. And today is the 22nd. So tomorrow I do plan to go ahead and travel. And but I'll get a video out in the morning for you guys. So with that being said, thank you so much as always for tuning in for another episode of what's going on here in the Dexscreener series. And I hope you guys continue to enjoy your day, your weekend, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. You take care. Bye bye.